All right, guys, welcome back in JE Live, and it is the post-game show, and we are here following a Rams win. The Rams move on to 4-1 after beating the Seattle Seahawks 26-17 on the road on Thursday Night Football. We're going to get into it. Before we do, be sure to hit the like button, a thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. I really appreciate you guys. Before I'll get into it, just want to let you guys know, really do appreciate all the help that you've given me and all the support. I just hit 7,000 subscribers today, so I just had to throw that milestone out there. Really appreciate you guys helping me get to that. Obviously, 8,000, 9,000, sky's the limit. We're going to keep on trucking along. What's up, everybody? Hope all is well. Hope you guys enjoyed the game. Hope you guys enjoyed the win. I got plenty of thoughts. I got plenty of, we're going to just go through it, right? So the Rams win 26-17. They started out not looking the best. Obviously, you had Matthew Stafford uncharacteristically missing a lot of throws early on. You had Robert Woods, a guy that I felt like was really going to explode in this one, going for 12 catches for 150 yards. You got 7 catches for 92 out of Cooper Kupp. And, of course, both running backs, both Sony Michel and Darrell Henderson, found pay dirt in rushing touchdown categories. On top of that, Tyler Higbee caught a touchdown. The Rams improved to 4-1, whereas Seattle falls to 2-3. They head to Pittsburgh next week, and the Rams also go to the East Coast. They will be taking on the New York Giants. So let's dive into this thing. I got the box score all in front of me. I got all the numbers and everything. I do find it funny, by the way, Tutu Atwell, they gave him a fumble even though he was down by, like, the ground clearly caused that fumble. He slipped and whatever. Nick Scott and Troy Reeder had some interceptions in this game. A huge, game-sealing interception for Nick Scott. The Rams really didn't capitalize off the interception from Troy Reeder, which was a little bit of a surprise. But look, all around, I got to give a lot of credit to this defense. And I know there's a lot of people that are going to say you're out of your mind. There's no way. This defense is trash, whatever. This defense did sack Russell Wilson twice, Terrell Lewis and Aaron Donald, of course. But here's a big thing for me is why I don't care about the yards this defense gave up. At the end of the day, this defense played a top 5 offense and only surrendered 17 points. You can say Russell Wilson got hurt all you want, but the fact of the matter is Seattle looked better with Geno Smith in the game, as odd as that sounds to say. As odd as that is to say, Geno Smith was moving the football. You can't say that, he came in and the game was over. He really, I thought, did a nice job going from, the back of his own end zone all the way down and scoring a touchdown, throwing to DK Metcalf, who, by the way, the Rams really have kept DK Metcalf under wraps, but in this game, 5 catches, 98 yards, found the end zone twice. Tyler Lockett, I thought they did a nice job shutting him down. 5 catches, 57 yards. You'll take it all day. Tyler Lockett can be an absolute terror over the top. They really did a nice job of limiting him. You had the DJ Dallas 29-yard play. Obviously, this defense wants to eliminate the big plays, and I think they did that for the most part. They got a few that, got past them a little bit, but give this defense a lot of credit. Give Raheem Morris a lot of credit. He's dealing with this defensive scheme. He really doesn't run, right? This is really Brandon Staley's defensive scheme, and he's trying to make his own thing work. Obviously, the defense can be better, and I think they'll be more fine-tuned. But if you look at last year, guys, you remember Brandon Staley having that game against the Buffalo Bills. We were really quick to freak out when the Cardinals came into town and just, ran the Rams off the map. But here's the thing. Okay, the Buffalo Bills game, the Rams couldn't stop a nosebleed in that game. The defense was questionable, but as we saw last year, it got better over time. So now, even though they won the game, I want to say this. And we'll get to the punt. Don't you guys worry. I'm going to read your comments. We'll get to the punt. We'll get to the fact that NFL officiating has to be held accountable because that is one of the worst calls I've ever seen in all of my life watching football. Literally one of the worst calls I've ever seen. So we'll get into that. Don't worry. So let's talk a little bit about that though. Just like looking at the defense and how they held him to 17. On the flip side of this, you have Matthew Stafford throwing 365 yards. You have Darrell Henderson running for 82. So he averaged 4.8 yards per carry, a good outing for him. You had 37 more yards from Sony Michel. So you ran 118 yards on the ground, 365 through the air. You had Robert Woods, catching 12 of 14. Obviously all these guys are making these plays, right? They're moving the football. So this is a thing. They're moving the football. How does this team only get 26 points the way they moved the football throughout the whole game? That's the thing here. And I want to touch on this because people may disagree with me, but I'm going to say this right now. Sean McVay is probably the best play designer I've ever seen, okay? Some of the calls they had today, some of those were outstanding. They had some phenomenal play calls. I mean, keep in mind, they're using Cooper Kupp and everything that he's doing and the run he is on to open up the door for Robert Woods and other guys. And you saw that. So, in this game, you see Cooper Kupp over the middle. He gains 2 guys because they're all focused on him. Robert Woods is able to kind of sail out over the top, and they hit him in stride, and he's wide open. These guys are wide open. Sean McVay does an outstanding job of scheming these guys open, but also using their strengths to their advantage because they're both phenomenal route runners, okay? Woods' final stats, by the way, to answer your question, William, 12 catches, 150 yards, averaging 12.5 per catch. 25 was his longest, so he 12 balls out of the 14 that were thrown to him. Very impressive day for Woods. Like I told you guys, he is not done. He is still one of the best receivers that no one talks about, and he proved that tonight. Knew he was going to have the best game of any Rams receiver. That was one of my bold predictions coming in this one. I had Stafford throwing 300 yards. Maybe I should have had him going over I had him throwing 3 touchdowns. Maybe I should have had him going over 300 yards. Appreciate Aaron Norris for joining the membership. Really do appreciate you joining. We have 19 members, so it does mean a lot. Obviously, love to have you on board, and really do appreciate that. But let's talk a little bit about this offense, though. Okay, so what I was getting into is that look, Sean McVay is an amazing play designer, but I've kind of decided, and I've thought about this for a while, but I'm pretty sold that this Rams team could end up being a dynasty as soon as Sean McVay realizes that he's not the best play caller, okay? Sean McVay makes some good calls, right? Sean McVay has been good at times, but I feel like, on a consistent basis, Sean McVay is not the best play caller, whereas he is a phenomenal play designer. So I'm honestly considering, what if the Rams, bring in somebody that's, a dominant play caller, or what if Kevin O'Connell, molds into that? Sean McVay gives up the play calling role, and then all of a sudden, it's less stress off him. You're moving the ball more towards, a guy like O'Connell. And if O'Connell could do a better job of managing the game, you're still getting the Sean McVay, aspect of everything, having him, running these plays and, designing these plays, and just O'Connell calling them in the right way. I think that there's a lot of these plays where you're like, McVay has the right play. He has it in his playbook, but he doesn't throw it out there enough, and there'll be times where he calls the wrong play. You're looking at a 3rd and 1, and there's kind of a tell here because, that 1 3rd and 1 play where they ran it and they were stuffed, I think with Sony Michel, they gave it away because the motion and everybody kind of sifted to the right. And that play, to me, kind of gave away what they were going to do. They were able to stifle them, hold them to a field goal, 4th down, and then they kicked the field goal. Here's the thing. Sean McVay, he can do it. Like, Sean McVay's still a good play caller. I don't think he's an elite play caller. I don't think he's a great play caller, and that's my thing. Sean McVay is probably the best play designer in all of football right now. No one is realizing that, or maybe they are. I don't know. But Sean McVay is probably the best play designer, of anyone in the NFL right now. But as far as calling, I just don't think he is the best. I think he's solid. I think he's good. I think he's very streaky. And I do think that's the reason why a lot of these games all of a sudden get close. Seattle never should have had an opportunity to even hold the ball at the end of this game. Okay? Seattle should not have had that opportunity. This game should not really have been close. This is not me, poo-pooing, a win, right? Because they, win 26-17. I'm not trying to say that. But what I will say is that this could have been a lot more, explosive of a game. You're playing one of the worst defenses in football right now. You have the way your wide receivers were open today. They're getting open. They're making catches. Obviously you look at Woods making 12 of 14 targets, turning those into catches, as well as Cooper Kupp catching 7 of 10. That's a really good percentage there for Matthew Stafford. Stafford, in turn, averaging 9.9 yards per pass. There's no excuse to have only 26 points on the board. So I think they'll get the hang of this, and I think eventually things will be more of a well-oiled machine. But I do think that's a big thing that is holding them back from, probably just being the best offense in the league to being, historic offense. I do think that's something that is holding them back. But it's time to talk about the punt, because what the freaking hell was that, okay? If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, I'll try to explain it. If you guys do, then you already know. But essentially, thank you, Substance. Appreciate you donating. Yes, if everyone could hit that like, would really appreciate it. Essentially with the punt, okay, you have, and Michael Dixon is a phenomenal punter, Aussie guy, has a really unorthodox punting, thing that he does. He's really good, right? One of the best in the league. I'm not knocking his talent, but I am saying that he got blocked by Jameer Jones. By the way, shout out to him. Got claimed off of waivers from the Steelers. Steelers cut him. Rams claimed him, and here he is blocking punts, apparently, in his first game. So my issue with this is that he gets blocked by Jameer Jones. He picks it up. He runs past the line of scrimmage and then punts again. By rule, that would be illegal touching, so to speak, or a forward pass, or whatever you want to call it, right? Delay of game, maybe. Something like that. But they throw a flag initially. The guy punts it all the way down the field. It's a great punt. It's down to the 10. So the Rams literally get penalized for blocking a punt, which is interesting in itself. So essentially what ends up happening is the refs pick it up. They say his heel was on the line of scrimmage, which even if that's the case, if his heel's on the line of scrimmage, he's over the line of scrimmage. So, I'm trying to have kind of a laugh about it because I think it's so unbelievably ridiculous. And if the Rams lost, God forbid, that would have been just one of the worst. I mean, because whatever, the officiating NFL Twitter or whatever will come out and be like, yeah, after further review, we realized that was the wrong call. But there's not going to be, it's a slap on the wrist, right? It's not a fine. However, God forbid you talk about them in a press conference or whatever, it is going to be a fine every time. You can't talk about the officiating, but they don't get fined. They're not held accountable. That is the issue here. And they're not going to be because, the NFL's spooked about the last time that, the NFL officials, they went on strike and those replacement refs almost ruined the entire season. That's probably why. But still, you have Major League Baseball. I've mentioned this before. Major League Baseball doesn't allow you to umpire playoff games if you don't have a certain accuracy to your calls. You get graded. And if you don't do well enough, you don't manage these, you don't umpire, the playoff games. And to me, the NFL has to have something like that. Because I just think that no one understood what was happening. I thought it was honestly some laziness. I thought it was some, clear complacency by this officiating crew. And it's just pathetic. I mean, it's a really bad look, by the way, guys, when this is a nationally televised game and everyone's watching and they see how just stupid these refs look. I mean, I'm not saying they are stupid, but I am saying that they acted stupid. I mean, it's clearly past the first down, or it's clearly past the line of scrimmage. And furthermore, how does that not raise a flag anyway? You threw a flag and then you picked it up? What? And then everyone in the booth is like, I don't know. Don't ask me. I don't know. I mean, that should have been... Yeah. So anyway, the Rams should have the ball at the 11-yard line. And then on top of that, they should have had one half the distance to the goal due to the illegal touching, forward pass, delay of game, whatever penalty they would have called that. So that was so embarrassing. I honestly can't even believe that happened. I mean, that's one of the absolute worst calls I've ever seen. Also, pretty bad call. The Aaron Donald roughing the passer. What is roughing the passer, guys? What is roughing the... Because I don't think it's barely grazing a guy's shoulder, but apparently that's how it is. And the last 2 weeks, the Rams have gotten absolutely crushed on, those roughing the passer calls. Just honestly horrible, in my opinion. I'll remember, for the rest of my life, I'll never forget the roughing the passer that was called on Michael Brockers. It was like a textbook hit. Perfect sack back in St. Louis. I think it was against Mike Glennon. And he hit him perfectly. And they said roughing the passer on a sack. I mean, roughing is essentially after the play, it's this, extracurricular activity that you don't need to do, and you're throwing a quarterback down and you're putting him in danger. It's not part of your job. Like, roughing the passer isn't like when you're playing the game and you make a sack, or roughing the passer is when you're trying to swat the pass or pressure a guy and he grazes his shoulder. I don't really know what's going on with the league with that. The roughing calls are just getting to be ridiculous. It's just, I don't understand it, but yeah. So I kind of touched on everything real quick. Now, I'd love to hear from you guys. I know there's a lot of comments here. We'll see if I can get through them all. Dark Saver, thank you so much for donating. Really appreciate that. This was such a great game. I just wish the first half was a bit better, but I can't even talk. But what can you do? But Jake, what do you think? Who do you think was the MVP on both offense and defense? Chat, who was y'all's favorite player in this game? The MVP of this game, in my opinion, has to be Robert Woods. I mean, look, he's open. That's great and all, but he's making these catches. I mean, that one catch where he had a guy draped all over him. He's moving the chains on his own. I mean, obviously Stafford has to get him the ball, but Robert Woods was huge in this game and really allowed them to continue those drives. And the way this team really faltered in the red zone, and, Sean McVay really just did not call the right plays on third down. I mean, going into the half, they were literally, scoreless as far as the third down conversion department. They had 0 as well as Seattle. So I think it would be Robert Woods for me. I think you have to give honorable mention to Jalen Ramsey, although he played off at times and did give up the touchdown to DK Metcalf, but he had a huge pass breakup that turned into an interception. They did nothing with, but that was huge. As well as Darrell Henderson, who ran real well. Once again, 4.8 yards per carry. This is not your Henderson from 2 years ago or last year. Henderson has progressed. He has gotten better, like I expected. He is one of the better running backs, I think, right now in football. If you gave him 25 carries, he'd be over 100 yards pretty easily. And furthermore, his job in pass protection is just one of the best in the league right now. He's not getting enough credit, and a lot of the Memphis guys aren't, but you see Tony Pollard and what he's doing in Dallas, and you see Kenny Gainwell and what he's doing in Philly. Hey, there's a reason Kenny Gainwell all of a sudden has turned that into a little bit of a committee backfield between him and Miles Sanders. Those Memphis running backs are doing a damn good job, and Darrell Henderson's no different. Henderson only had 17 carries because they're trying to limit him, but what's really important is the 17-yard completion that he had on that screen. That was a huge play. That was a perfect play call, which will happen with McVay. He'll make those here and there, but I just think that Henderson is very valuable for this team. I think they're going to need him for the long run. I think that's really why they're trying to manage him, trying to make sure he doesn't get hurt. Michelle has proven, he 3.4 yards per carry isn't great, but Michelle is somebody that has shown you he's going to run with that physicality. And, while Henderson showed more of that, that is what Sony Michel is right now. Sony Michel has turned more into a power back than ever. And I think that's a big thing here. He's turning into that Malcolm Brown type of guy, and honestly more powerful than Brown. Brown was kind of finesse a little bit too, even with that power. But that's definitely something to keep in mind, is that Sony Michel, I think that's a good combo there. As long as they stay healthy, I think they'll be good to go. Was really impressed the way they shut down the running game. They gave up 92 yards on 25 carries. So once again, the defense just shut down the running game entirely. 3.7 yards per carry is nothing. They gave up 7.7 yards for Geno Smith. That's not the run game. And 3.1 from Alex Collins. They really shut him down. In the receiving game, I thought they did a nice job at everybody except for Metcalf. They did a nice job with Lockett. Aside from that one big play, which, it's a little unfair because Lockett probably catches that and maybe even scores. But it was a great penalty. Honestly, I got to give credit to, and obviously he got burned, right? Robert Rochelle got burned. But the thing that was great about Robert Rochelle there is that he realized that, hey, I could get burned here and give up a touchdown, or I can just take this penalty, make it obvious, knock him down, make sure there's no chance he's going to catch it, and then trust our defense to stop him. That was a huge play because they didn't end up scoring a touchdown that drive, if you remember. So good on him for doing that. And then, DJ Dallas is their third leading receiver with 2 catches for 32 yards, one of which came on a broken coverage play with Kenny Young. He's got to be, obviously more aware in that situation, had a 29-yard play, with that. So let's get into the comments here. Let's go up here. So I'll see what I can do here. I'm going to try to get everyone's comments. We'll see what I can do. D. Will now Floyd. Apparently Floyd got hurt. I guess we'll find out on that. And I'll be following that as well. I'm going to check, see, on Twitter and see if anything comes up. But, I mean, that'll definitely be something to watch. The injuries could be significant. I mean, that's something we got to talk about here is that, when you look at, what happened with Darius Williams, I mean, that's a significant injury. It looks like Robert Rochelle has passed David Long on the depth chart for now. But, I mean, at what point do you just give Terrell Burgess a shot? He has not really played. He's only had 1 snap the whole season. Really confused at what they're doing there. So let's go through. I mean, Jordan Rodriguez tweeting. Obviously, there was a press conference. The Rams' next 3 games at 4-1, they go up against the Giants. I'll be at that game in New York, actually in New Jersey. The Lions in LA, and then the Texans. So, pretty good 3-game stretch coming up for the Rams. I think the Giants are the best team they're playing. I do think Daniel Jones is going to be somebody you're going to have to watch out for, his ability to move the football with his legs. And then furthermore, on top of that, you have Saquon Barkley they have to worry about. They've done a nice job against the run, but Barkley can really hurt you in the passing game as well. And on top of that, they could have Sterling Shepard back, who is his go-to target. Sterling Shepard's been out. We'll see if he comes back. That'd be a serious play there. And then on top of that, Kadarius Toney, you have Kenny Golladay. So those are some guys to look out for. The offensive line's pretty putrid, but the Rams have gone up against putrid offensive line and really haven't, they haven't gotten a ton of sacks because they just haven't been able to finish. I mean, I think that's a big thing. If they start finishing their sacks, I mean, they could have crazy numbers. They've been getting a lot of pressures, getting in the backfield a lot, but they had just not finished on a lot of them. So that's a big play there. And of course, Patrick Graham's defense, the same defense Sean McVay said was the hardest to prepare himself against last year. That game was close last year. But this game should be a little bit different. Stafford on the road, a little bit different than Jared Goff, but we'll see. So let's see here. So let's see. McVay says he does not have an update on Darius Williams, who had an ankle injury. He said he was aware of an issue with Stafford's finger, but couldn't expand much on it. Adds upon question that he didn't believe there were any other issues entering the game, asked because missed throws. Stafford A-okay with exactly what happened. Okay, so Stafford said that his finger popped out and then he popped it back in. So he came back in and did that. So shows the toughness that he has. Pretty crazy with that. Matthew Stafford said he doesn't really know how his finger got hurt, but he felt a little pressure in the digit in the second quarter and looked down and saw it was a little bit out of place. So he didn't believe it affected him through the rest of the game. No pain. So that is Jordan Rodriguez saying that. And let's see here. If I'm playing a little bit better, a little bit slower to start the game, and on some points on third down, maybe I say we stay on the field a little bit longer and get points. Stafford was talking about earlier in the game that, he could have done a better job. Let's see. So Robert Wood said he approached Sean McVay, and they had a good talk this week about getting him more involved in the passing game after heavier involvement in the running game. Okay. So, yeah, I mean, we'll find out more. I don't see anything on Floyd, guys. It's probably just a weird thing at the end of the game. He's probably fine. But I do see that, there's no update on Darius Williams' ankle. So hopefully it's not bad. I guess the good thing here is that he's not they're not like terrified, right? Like I've seen this before. I've seen guys get hurt, they hurt their ankle or what have you, and then, we're hearing about them like, oh yeah, they're concerned. You don't want to ever see a team is worried about the torn ACL or what have you. So that's something to keep in mind. I don't know why they. Hold on a sec, because I'm looking at the feed right now, and for whatever reason they have the comments. Like your names in the comments, they have your names like darkened. Like, why would they do that? That doesn't even make sense. Like that seems stupid to me. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Okay, there we go. I don't know why it was darkened before. I guess I fixed it, but okay, so let's try and answer all these questions if we can. Let's see. 100% pure. The Rams got screwed on a number of calls. You can't control the refs, but you can play above terrible officiating. Troll elsewhere, please. Let's see. Okay, so going back, Stafford did a golf with his dislocated finger. Yeah, he did. Hope Stafford can heal up with some extra time off. Think he got hurt in the second game and hasn't been quite the same since. Yeah, there's a chance. I kind of mentioned that to Alexis. I was saying that I thought Stafford, is he dug deep against Tampa. That was like his biggest game of his career, in my opinion. But I do think that, last week was tough. I think this week was tough, but yeah, you definitely like him bouncing back in a big way. I mean, that's definitely something you like to see there. Let's see. Man, Rap has to go, and Raheem Morris does too. I will keep saying it. Don't care, but we need a safety. I disagree. I really do disagree. I don't think Rap is playing that bad. I've said that. I think he actually is outplaying Jordan Fuller, and once again, in this game, I thought he was too. Rap, again, they play different type of roles. I mean, this one, they did a nice job of keeping everything in front of them for the most part, except for those big splash plays. That Rap only had one tackle. I mean, that's the thing. The secondary wasn't getting a ton of tackles. The guy that led the team in tackles, this is a good sign. This is how you know that your defense played well. Sebastian Joseph Day led the team in tackles with 8, okay? Sebastian Joseph Day went off, okay? He had 8 tackles. 3 of them being solo, of course, 7 for Donald, 6 for Fuller, 5 for Floyd, 5 for Nick Scott, 4 for, see what I mean? There more of them are coming up in the trenches, so to speak, there, but no, definitely a big game, I think, from the defensive line. I thought they played well. So that's what I'll say. I don't think Rap is a huge issue. I would like to see Burgess play, obviously, but I don't think Rap is just at this point, to me, he is a scapegoat. Just like, you look at Raheem Morris. I mean, I thought the defense outplayed the offense in a sense because the defense only allowed 17. You allow 17 points every single game. It doesn't matter how many yards you give up, guys. If you only give up 17 points a game, you have a chance to win any game. If you really think about it, you could beat any team. If you only gave up 17 points, you just have to score 18 and you win. Think about that. Only 18. I mean, that would be considered a bad team. The worst Rams offenses pretty much averaged 18 points per game. This Rams team was averaging close to 30 before, last week and this week. So, all right. So, yeah, let's look at the other ones here. Good call on your predictions. Thank you, Guy. Appreciate you. Sup, Jake? Bye-bye, Sea Chickens. But Jesus, our defense, man. Stafford took a half to warm up. I think Staff Def got hurt in game 2. Deep ball has been off since. I think he did get hurt. I don't know if he, how much the injury affected those throws, because I know he got better as the game went on. Maybe, he just started off slow, and that, happens at times. I really think the defense is, I don't know if you were saying, but Jesus, our defense man is in there bad. I think they played fine. Again, I know that it's going to be a lot of, well, what are you talking about? The defense was horrible. But again, 17 points. At the end of the day, it's all about winning the football game. And of course, the bend don't break is going to give up yards. I think they were more physical in this game, which I liked about the defense. let's see. Yeah, if you hold the Bills to 17, geez. But then, I mean, this is a top 5 offense. I mean, here, guys, just let's talk about it real quick, and then I'll start reading the comments again because we got to catch up on those. There's a lot, and I really appreciate you guys interacting. So let me just real quick throw this out there for you. Okay, so the Seattle Seahawks have scored 28, 30, 17, 28, and now 17. So they tied the lowest of the season against the Vikings. That was on the road. This was at home. The Rams went into their house on Thursday Night Football. Normally, defenses don't play well on Thursday Night Football. Normally, it's better. It forces offenses. Offenses look better on Thursday Night Football on a short week. But actually, the Rams did not play bad. And when you look at what this team has done this year, I mean, up until this game, Russell Wilson had 0 interceptions. I thought they did a really nice job. Obviously the defense isn't perfect, and they gave up a few splash plays. But at the end of the day, I mean, the defense did all you could ask them to do. The Rams led the game in first downs, 24-22. They had 16 passing first downs to Seattle's 13, 8 rushing to Seattle's 5. First down from penalties. They had let's see, right here. So the Seattle Seahawks had 4 first downs because of penalties. The Rams were 2 of 10 on third down conversions. This kind of goes back to what I'm saying about Sean McVay's play calling. This has to be a more consistent approach. He has to get better in that area. I will keep saying it. 2 of 10 is not going to cut it. Seattle is 4 of 10. But again, 40%. Your defense is holding a team to 40%. Third down conversion rate, that's good. The Rams were 1 of 1 on fourth down. Seattle, they got a fourth down stop on Seattle. Total plays, Rams ran 67 to Seattle 60. The Rams total yards, they almost hit 500, guys, 476. So this is what I mean. The offense is putting up these yards. The offense is going down the field. They're not putting up points. And I think a lot of that was not really about the defense, whereas I feel like the Rams defense was causing a lot of that, right? They're causing a lot of turmoil. It was hard to score for Seattle. They were having a tough time moving the football because the Rams defense was playing well. On the flip side, I think the Rams offense was having a lot of these self-inflicted wounds. You had the interception in the end zone, really uncharacteristic from Stafford. You have, kicking a field goal instead of going for it on 4th and short. You have running, right into the defense's teeth, at 3rd and 2, once again, having a punt. It's just that, to me, it's a lot of the missed throws early in the game for Stafford. That to me is the big thing, okay? And that's what I'll say, is that's why I think, 476 yards is great. It's exactly why they should have had over 30 to 40 points, and only getting 26 tells me that the offense underachieved based on how much that they were moving the football. And to me, I put that on Sean McVay. Then looking at the 354 yards, I'm not concerned about that. That's not a ton of yards to give up against a top 5 offense. And you could say, again, that Russell Wilson being out, all of that, whatever, I thought they moved the ball fine with Geno Smith. I mean, it's shocking. I'm pretty sure the last time Geno Smith played was for the Giants when I was actually at the game. I mean, I could be wrong, but I mean, that's how it feels, So it's just, crazy. But, the Rams altogether, I mean, the defense held them to 3.7 yards per carry, 7.5 yards per pass. I mean, it's good. Not, it's pretty good for the offense, obviously 7.5 yards per pass. Yeah, but 9.4 for the Rams. And Seattle was sacked twice, and they had 21 sack yardage, on Seattle. So again, I think the Rams, and this is the first time all year that they've won the time of possession battle. They won it by nearly 7 minutes. So, I think it's a good performance for the Rams defense. I think it's something to build off of. I don't think it's the best. I think we've obviously been a little bit spoiled by what Staley showed at the end of last season, but let's allow Raheem Morris to build into that, right? So that's what I'll say about that. And I'll catch up on the comments, but I just got 2. Looks like I got 2 super chats, so really do appreciate you guys there. Jason, thank you. Thanks for keeping it real. The D played great. How about coming in after a bad half on the road and turning it around? That's a great football team. Boom. And by the way, that stop, keep in mind, the defense was in this kind of, prevent defense to kind of only give up a field goal on that last drive to, close out the half. They missed the field goal, But the reason they settled for a field goal is because the defense stopped them. They had a chance to score on that drive. They had a chance to score a touchdown. Defense stopped them right before the half. That was huge. That does not get enough credit. And then, Aaron, thank you. Rams could possibly have the best O-line. Rams' offensive line played very well. I've been very impressed with what the Rams' offensive line has been able to do, the last, bunch of games. And, really what it comes down to is this. The Rams' offensive line has this quiet confidence you can see in them. First off, we got to highlight Austin Corbett is one of the best guards in the league, okay? I've been watching a lot of offensive line film because I want to see, I'm like, who is the best offense? Who is the best offensive line in this league? And I think there's a lot of teams stand out. But I think the Rams are right up there, really. I mean, I'm not kidding. I think the Rams offensive line is playing very well. And I don't think that they're getting enough, they're not getting enough national credit, so to speak. I think you're getting some good stuff out of the Broncos, Kansas City, but I do think the Rams offensive line has stepped up. I think the Niners offensive line has stepped up a little bit. There's some bad offensive lines out there. The Rams are nowhere near the worst. I think they're definitely top 10, maybe top 5, and maybe even top 3. They've been playing very well, and I think a lot of that is a credit to, and I'll say this over and over again. It's a credit to Aaron Kromer and building this offensive lineup. It's a credit to, Coach Carberry and keeping the offensive line stable. It's a credit to the Rams for not panicking and mass drafting a whole new offensive line. That's what it's a credit to. When everyone's sitting there like, oh, they should have taken 5 offensive linemen. Why? They've already taken all those guys. Now it's time to see what they can do. And they actually got a little bit of curveball when they found out that Bobby Evans can't play. I mean, think about that. You spend a 3rd-round pick on an Oklahoma, player. His first game, right? Oklahoma right tackle. He comes in. He does a nice job of containing Khalil Mack. As you know, he didn't give up any sacks. He had help from Tyler Higbee, chipping him. But this was a huge, wrench in their plans. Let's not mistake that, guys. They were expecting Bobby Evans to be a starter, and he has failed them. And, Joseph Nopum has been drafted for the future to be the left tackle, and Whitworth has played longer. So they've kind of lucked out in that regard. Of course, they also had to pay Whitworth to keep him. But then you get, this is a huge one. David Edwards does not get enough credit. He's the unsung hero of the offensive line because he's the left guard, right? He's the left guard that they drafted in the 5th round, and he's the guy that is there. He is competing. He's playing. He's getting better each year. That is the guy that doesn't get enough credit. Austin Corbett, this is the Snead, okay? This is the Snead, go-to here. Les Snead deserves credit in this one because Les Snead went and got the 33rd overall pick in his respective draft, saw that the Browns weren't playing him, was like, hey, we'll offer you a late 5th-round pick in, a draft 2 years from now or whatever they offered, and they got him. And that's been a huge, he might be the best offensive lineman on their team right now. And then Rob Havenstein, Rob Havenstein comes in, 2nd rounder. He comes in and, he's been playing, a level of consistency since he joined the league. But really, Havenstein's biggest attribute, in my opinion, is the fact that, even if he's hurt, he's still playing. He has this availability about him. It's been very special. And then you get center Brian Allen, who kind of just rounds it up, ties it up into a bow. Brian Allen, they hit on in the 4th round. I was wrong. I'll tell everybody that has ever watched the NFL draft that I whiffed on Brian Allen. Was I right early on in his career? Probably, but it doesn't matter because to assume that an offensive lineman can't get better over time is ridiculous. It's why I laugh at people that will do these, what is it? I don't know, the whole, running around, doing a victory lap, right? How many of these people that they get their, they're worried about being wrong, that they do a victory lap at the first sign of trouble for a young player? See, I thought Brian Allen wasn't going to work in the NFL, and I gave my reasoning. He got better, and I was wrong about that. I was right, essentially, because what he was in college was not going to translate. But I should have realized that the Rams coaching staff, having Cromer, having Carberry both work with him, having him being in this offense with the players around him, I should have realized that he would be legit. And you know what? He absolutely is. He deserves all the credit. He's gotten very good. I hope they have him, for the foreseeable future, because that is a stud right there. And that is why they're one of the best offensive line in football. That I just listed all 5 guys. They have the depth. They have Tremaine Ankrum. They have Bobby Evans. Again, I don't love Bobby Evans, but he is not a horrible guy to have as your 9th guy. A.J. Jackson, Joseph Noteboom, Coleman Shelton's not horrible, Obviously, you don't want to see any of these guys go down, but the offensive line is definitely good. I will say that. All right, so let's see here. Sorry, guys. We have so many comments. I don't even think I'm going to get through them all. I do appreciate you guys with the super chats, but I'll also say if you absolutely have a question you want me, you're dying for me to answer, just throw up a super chat for however small amount you want to throw it up there for. I will see it because it highlights it for me. I'm just having a hard time getting through all these because, man, you guys are freaking awesome. And we've had over 200 people in this, and it's been a lot of fun. And we're over 1,000 views on this right now. Over 1,100. So really do appreciate that. Okay, let's see. And now YouTube doesn't want to. All right, this is great. Trying to answer everyone's questions, and YouTube's just not allowing me to. Okay. Please play Burgess. Yeah, I'd like to see Burgess play too. Definitely. Staff showed great leadership the second half. Love it. I don't know what's up with the underthrows though. Maybe he's figuring out his receiver still. Yeah, I think, it might have been a little bit of the injury. We'll see. Like I said, I've said a lot with this team. This is week 5. This team is 4-1. They just dropped 476 yards on the road, on offense, only put up 26 points. So it kind of goes to show you, this team is still moving the ball at will, and really the only thing that's stopping them is the play calling right now and missed throws. These guys are open. It's not like these guys aren't creating separation. Their issues are very fixable. Very fixable. There's a lot of teams right now that are panicking because their issues aren't fixable. Hey, we just drafted this guy in the 2nd round or the 1st round, and we just found out, he's not ready to be our number 1 receiver. He can't get out. He literally cannot even get off the line of scrimmage. These are fixable. When Robert Woods is wide open or Cooper Kupp's wide open and you overthrow him or whatever, fine, But he's going to hit those throws. I'm not worried about that. There was people, tweeting at me, I miss Jared Goff. I'm like, you're overreacting. I'm not going to try and, completely trash Jared Goff. I'm just going to say this. Jared Goff is not Matthew Stafford. He's just not. Okay. Anyway, moving on. Blooper highlight play turned into one of the worst play calls very quickly. Yes, you're very right about that. Stafford locks on to one receiver and it limits our passing offense. I disagree with that because while it looks like Stafford's locking in, Stafford is moving his eyes. Yeah, I think a lot of the time is, we see quarterbacks go like this and go through their progressions. We don't realize that they can just do this to read the field. And that's how he does it. Not everyone is doing this. The thing is when they're doing that, Stafford will do that. When he's doing that, he's trying to fake, right? So he'll be he'll get his shoulder like that where you ever see a pump. He's faking he's going to go that way. And then he'll pull the trigger because he saw in the corner of his eye over there that cup was open. And that's the thing. That's why I'm not worried. I don't think Stafford is, eyeing down the barrel of one guy. I think really he is trying to spread the ball around. He sees guys, that's the thing. So, I'm not too worried at all. I think Matthew Stafford still wins MVP, although Kyler Murray would be my vote right now. But this is a good win and a very impressive performance. Dug down deep, getting hurt. Made the win on the road against your division rival. Big win for Matthew Stafford here. Let's not discount that. Thrown for 365 yards, 25 of 37. He still continues to move the ball down the field. He is throwing way more down the field than Goff did last year. That's a big thing there. So when people say I miss Jared Goff, yeah, but do you miss bubble screens every 2 plays? Do you miss quick, these quick throws to the flat that don't go anywhere. I mean, really, that's what it is. Stafford, the reason they're able to throw down the field like this is because of Stafford. So while he misses those throws occasionally because of this, finger issue or whatever, he's going to get this thing cleared up, and they're going to be a monster. The only thing that's going to stop them is the play calling. That's the only thing that can really limit this team. That's what I've noticed. It's the play calling and Stafford's inaccuracy that we've seen time, here and there. I'm not going to call it consistent, because it really hasn't been. Go back and watch the Bears game. That's like perfect. I think that's what he is when he's fully healthy. So this guy is just playing through a lot of pain, and you got to give him all the props in the world for doing it. Dude dislocates his finger and then puts it right back in place and plays, I felt bad for Russell Wilson to a degree, but at the same time, Russell Wilson did also injure Aaron Donald on a sack. So, I mean, I'm just saying, Aaron Donald, had he been in the playoffs, against Green Bay at full 100%, I do think the Rams probably would have made the Super Bowl, to be honest with you. They already proved they could beat Tampa. So, that's neither here nor there. Okay, so let's see. What was Woody's final stats? Oh, I answered that a while ago. Wow, I'm really behind. Okay. Matthew Stafford's team still getting screwed by the refs. Jesus, that kick block was a huge blown call. Learn the rules. Totally agree. Put Garrett in. Garrett was unfortunately a healthy scratch. Cooper's block was very good. Cooper Kupp's block on that Darrell Henderson run was very good. Very impressive. That's the type of stuff you like to see. I love the small ball, right? We talk about with baseball, bunting and stealing and pinch hitters and pinch runners and, double switches and, shifts and things like that in the outfield, shallow, in, whatever. We never talk about in football, but the little things sometimes make all the difference. And that one touchdown, to Tyler Higbee, that drive was so impressive because there were so many little things involved. I'll just take you step by step in what I saw. You had the run by Darrell Henderson with the Cooper Kupp block. Cooper Kupp's block made that run go past the second level and allowed Henderson to get in deep into the secondary. That's the first thing. But before that, Darrell Henderson's job in pass pro was so impressive, guys. Was so freaking impressive. I mean, that was a great blitz pickup. Matthew Stafford, they honestly called the perfect play. Matthew Stafford was going to get sacked. He adjusted the play. He moved Darrell Henderson up to get him ready to make that play, but he moved him to the other side. So he's on the left side. He's hovering right over the left guard, and they call the perfect blitz. The Seahawks do. They have their guy rush from the other side, so he's coming through, the gap between the right guard and the right tackle, and so Darrell Henderson has to make an attempt to get over there and stay square because, of course, he can't do a block in the back. So he does a great job of staying square, staying in front of him, making the play, using his short area burst to get to that hole, fill the void, and then knock him out of the way for Stafford to complete that pass downfield. And then, of course, with that pass, let's talk a little bit about the little nuances with that, because if you didn't realize, well, essentially what was happening is that teams were keying in on Cooper Kupp. So Sean McVay knew this would happen, so he drew up a play where Cooper Kupp was going to a certain area of the field. He knew that a bunch of players would start going to that area because obviously Cooper Kupp leads the league in targets, right? It makes sense that he's going to get the ball there. And so because of that, it left a guy from his post and allowed Robert Woods to go over the top like this, and then Robert Woods came in, made the catch over the middle, and there you go. There's just so much unselfishness with this team, and I'm really glad that Robert Woods had that conversation with McVay. Sometimes you really have to just be like, hey, please get me involved. Like, I just want to be involved. I'm not, a diva or anything like that. I just think it would be beneficial for the team if I was more involved. It would keep us off balance. Teams are really going to have a hard time guessing and hard time figuring out how to beat us. And honestly, whatever he said obviously was done the right way and done, respectively. But he was right. I mean, think about this. He was absolutely right. I mean, the Rams offense looked way better as long as Matthew Stafford could make the throws and, Sean McVay wasn't, making the wrong play calls, which, I mean, he did. But when this offense was clicking, it looked better than, any of them because they were moving the ball down the field and they were sustaining these long drives that were keeping their defense off the field, and they really weren't beatable. you can't stop when the receivers are constantly 10 yards open. And that's the thing with them. So a lot of that is a credit to, Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp working in tandem, Van Jefferson getting open. All these guys are open. And that's the thing. It's not a matter of, fantasy football players will say, oh, well, Van Jefferson didn't have a very good game because, he only had, he dropped a touchdown. I will say that. He's got to catch that. But he had 1 catch on 4 targets for 16 yards. And essentially, Van Jefferson played a good game. If you look at him, as far as the route running department and the blocking department, he played a great game. He just wasn't targeted as much, And that's the thing. It's all about mouths to feed. I think the next game we'll probably see Tyler Higbee as the leading receiver against the Giants. There's always going to be a different way to approach it. And when you have that much talent, they don't care. It doesn't matter. They just want W's. And that's exactly the thing is Sean McVay doesn't want a guy, like DK Metcalf. As great as he is, he doesn't want a guy that's going to get into his face and get into a quarterback's face and tell him to give me the ball. I like Metcalf, but hey, let's call it like it is. That interception was telegraphed because DK Metcalf in the playoffs basically went up to Russell Wilson, made it known he was upset he wasn't getting the football, and then they tried to force feed him the football, and it was picked off because everyone in the building knew what they were doing. So, because the Rams don't employ guys like that, they don't go out of their way to get up guys that, just want the ball, like gimme, gimme, gimme. Because of that, the Rams are able to have all of these guys that don't really care about getting the football, and they can pick up W's and they can just win the game because they'll do their role and they fill it efficiently. And that's a big thing here. It's there's a lot of mouths to feed. This is not meant for diva receivers. This offense is absolutely not meant for diva receivers because it does not matter how good you are. You might have a game where they shut you down or you're used as a decoy like Cooper Kupp does. Cooper Kupp's just that good that even though he was used as a decoy in this game, still had 7 catches for 92 yards. Let's just call it like it is. Like, he's really good. But that's also not said enough. So, all right, let's see here. Let's try to answer some of these questions. And I got these. Let's see here. Okay, so Aaron Norris, thank you again. Jameer Jones pickup turns into a blocked punt. Snead being Snead. Exactly. And Snead pushed for him. That's the thing. Snead pushed to go and get him. So, they said that. He really wanted him. And, this is somebody that showed you, he gets to the quarterback in preseason for the Steelers. This is somebody that showed you that he can play. He's not just a special teamer. So it'll be interesting. This is a guy next year to watch out for. When everyone's fighting for the roster spots, he could make that 53. He's on it right now. But, he's somebody that if they get a chance to develop him, as a pass rusher, that's going to be intriguing. I'm excited for him. Let's see. Scott played great. He needs more snaps. Thank you, Hilltop, for putting, for donating, as well as Aaron. I really do appreciate you guys. I thought Scott, did play well. And, the thing with Scott, I saw, there are people on Twitter saying, well, Scott has to get to his, he has to get to that ball, and, Scott's playing cover 2, okay? Scott is not going to be able to get over to the flat. Your linebacker has to make the play. It's quite simply put, your linebacker shouldn't be beat off the ball like that. That's not Scott's role. Because Scott comes down there and tries to clean it up, that doesn't mean he should get blamed for it. So I did see some of that on Twitter that I was like, it's not his fault, but that happens, right? It's always going to happen. Okay, so let's try and get these comments. Good thing next 4 games easy. We can figure out how to play defense. I think they played defense pretty well. Woods showed he's still one of the best in the game. Yeah, he's really good. Rams win. Yes, they did. We are taking over MetLife next week. Yes, Jobo, let's do that. That should be fun. Stafford is clearly hurt and is affecting his accuracy and depth on his off-frame throws. That's a good point. We'll see. I think having this game Thursday before you travel the East Coast, I think is definitely beneficial. And we'll see how much they utilize that, that time for Stafford to get ready. This is, obviously they could have won by a lot more, but this is a, good win no matter which way you put it, because anytime you go on the road, you beat a team like Seattle on the road. I personally don't think Seattle is that great, right? But they're a team that is essentially your rival. So because they're your rival, they know what you do. They have a guy that was on your coaching staff, actually two guys that were on your coaching staff last year, Andy Dickerson, the assistant offensive line coach, and Shane Waldron, the passing game coordinator. And now you're telling me, and former tight ends coach, by the way, and now you're telling me that both of those guys came over from the Rams knowing what they know. They went to Seattle and they didn't have any sort of intel on the offense. Come on now. So that's the thing. They might have known a little bit of what the Rams were going to do. The Rams mixed it up a bit. I don't think they really got too much intel. But, anytime you're going up against a rival that has that intel and everything, on the road especially, it's an impressive win. To win by 9 is definitely impressive. So, good on the Rams. That they needed that for sure. Pete Carroll in the hot seat yet? I don't think so. Definitely don't. If Matt Nagy still has a job, is not on the hot seat, as well as Mike Zimmer, the Vikings, I definitely don't think he's on the hot seat. Okay, let's see here. Stafford. Okay, Seahawks D is awful, thankfully. Appreciate you rooting for us over Seattle. Oh, Niners fan is just, yeah, he's a Rams fan. He's Ben Boom on Discord. Okay. Everyone, if you could, we're over 200 people watching. Please hit the thumbs up. Let's get us to 200 likes. We're at 116. Let's get that thing up. More people join when you like the video, because it tells YouTube, hey, people that are watching this video like this video. So, in turn, what if we had this magical idea to take this video and recommend it to people that also like videos like the Rams? So they'll take keywords that I use, like the Rams, like win, like Seahawks lose, and they'll put that in a recommended setting for people that are looking for that. So it always helps. Really do appreciate it, guys. Let's see. The big play that got us going was that throw to Djax that got our sideline momentum going. Our offense. I don't even know why I said sideline. There's no sideline in there. Sorry about that. I'm tired, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, so Jose, I absolutely agree with you. Shout out to Deshaun Jackson. He has taken a significantly smaller role, 1 catch, 68 yards, only had 3 targets. He just wants to win. Obviously, I'm sure he wants to get the ball and all that. He's the deep threat, what have you. But what I want to say is that I was really impressed with his ability to, adjust to the football. It was an underthrown ball. He was also pressured, with everything going on with his finger or whatever. Deshaun Jackson adjusted to make that football catch. Now, last week, I don't feel like he did that well enough, and I called him out on it. I wasn't trying to be a jerk. I'm just saying that I thought he should have gone up and tried to play a defensive back there and try to swat it down if it's going to be an interception. This week, he did. He, made the adjustment, slowed down, positioned himself, made the nice catch, and then was able to run with the football. Just really impressed with, Deshaun Jackson, what he's meant to this team. He doesn't get a ton of opportunities, but when he does, he's had a really big home run rate, so to speak. Just added 68 yards to that total, average 68 yards today on 1 catch, of course. So that's something to keep in mind. But, let's see here. So we have the Deshaun Jackson comment. Stafford finger will be fine. Long rest ahead and keep the wrap if needed. No, absolutely. I think he will too. At least 8 points left on the table with the pick in the end zone and the missed extra point. Boom. Yeah, if it was 34-17, I think that makes a lot of sense. It could have been more, but 34-17 I think would have kind of told the story a little bit more about how much the Rams outplayed Seattle. Seattle really didn't play that well. They had a hard time moving the ball with Russell Wilson. I mean, Russell Wilson had a total of 162 yards, and I think he got hurt in the 4th quarter. So, I mean, he wasn't hurt. It's funny because this week the media, well, not all the media, but certain media personnel will say that Russell Wilson gets hurt, Rams win, right? Because that's how it makes it sound like the Rams, Russell Wilson got hurt. So now when people didn't watch the game, they'll be like, oh, well, the Rams won because Russell Wilson got hurt. But in reality, come on, how much did that really affect the game? The Rams were already moving, they were moving well. And then on top of that, you have, like I said, Geno Smith comes in and almost plays better than Russell Wilson. I mean, his stats are almost identical. 10 passes, 10 of 17, 131 yards, 7.7 average, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Russell Wilson, 11 of 16, 152 yards, 9.5 average, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. He played a little bit better than Geno, like as far as statistically and like the QB passer rating or whatever, but Geno's interception at the end, he's trying to force something to make something happen. In reality, though, I mean, they played pretty similar, so I don't think it's a huge dropout. Let's see. Yeah, Stafford got hurt too, so I don't want to hear it. Anyway. The rap hate is way too much in my opinion. Literally anything he does makes everyone immediately say to cut him. I agree with you. Absolutely agree with you, William. Djax is so good with the deep ball. Love how he turned around. Yeah, no, absolutely. Totally agree with you there, Substance. Russell should know not to high-five Donald. Just ask Drew Brees. Yeah, I was at that game. What jersey you rocking? Good question. So I'm rocking the Darrell Henderson bone jersey. Now, I got it from DHgate, so it's not like the actual bone. It's probably why, I don't know, this font looks kind of fake. Is what it is. I don't really care, to be honest with you. I don't have money to shell out, for a bunch of jerseys. So I do DHgate, and if anyone has any complaints about it, I'm just honest. I'm like, hey, no big deal. I just don't feel like paying hundreds of dollars on jerseys, but you do that. I mean, that's totally up to you. I like getting multiple, so that's the thing. I know that they're not the best quality, but, I don't really care. Then O'Connell gets a job as head coach somewhere. Yeah, hopefully not. Did you see Floyd on last play? McVay ran to him and was talking. He looked hurt. Hope him and Williams are good. I was reading that I didn't see anything about Floyd getting hurt on Twitter. I was reading that it was like Darius Williams was hurt. He had an ankle, and there was no comment by McVay. Like he couldn't comment on it yet. So, I mean, we'll see. But let's see. Jalen said. Yeah, there's nothing here. Adam Schefter said something interesting. Seattle, the Seahawks quarterback Russell Wilson never missed an NFL start, something that could be in jeopardy with his finger injury. Now, I understand that's something that you would think off the top of your head. Yeah, he'd be in jeopardy. But Seattle could be in deep trouble. The Rams have a really easy schedule coming up the next 3 games. And, Russell Wilson will be going to Pittsburgh. And I think the Steelers, they had an opportunity against the Packers. I think the Steelers could beat Seattle, especially if Russell Wilson doesn't play. So, that would put them at 2-4 on the season. The Rams would essentially be looking at potentially 7-1 if they win the next 3 games. Seattle, they're very lucky that the 49ers lost that game, because if they have lost to the 49ers, they'd be in hot water, in my opinion. There's just not enough playoff spots. I mean, when you get to this point, you have a division that is this competitive, and this is why I had the team winning 7 games this year, 7-10. I mean, I truly just think there's not enough playoff spots for the Seahawks. I mean, look at the Cardinals, the way they're playing. I still think the Rams win the division. I think the Rams are going to still either go 15-2 or 14-3. I had 15-2 before the season. I'm not going to change it. But Arizona I had making the playoffs, and then the Niners. So, I just don't think there's anything there for Seattle. Had they won tonight, had they not blown the game against the Titans, then yeah, they're in the driver's seat. But that was not to be. It's not the case. So, that's that's a big thing there. So go Pittsburgh, I guess, right? Russell shouldn't know. Okay, I saw that. Horns up, Carney. Timeout use has gotten a lot better. Not great yet, though. No, I agree. I think it's gotten better for sure. Agreed, Jake. Hated 3rd and 10. Give up a run at midfield as if Goff was behind the center. Yeah, I hated that. Let's see. What's up, Jake? Happy to have a bounce back win. Good to a live stream victory. I missed it last week. Yes, good to have you, Frankie. Yeah, I would much rather, obviously, do the live streams after a win than a loss. I know both get engagement for different reasons. I like being positive. I still can throw, I'm going to keep it real with you guys. Like I said, I think the defense had their moments, but I thought the defense played well. You're probably not going to see many people talking about that, but I'll explain why. And on top of that, I'll also tell you that I don't think Sean McVay is the best play caller. I don't. I think he's the best play designer in the league, and I don't think he's the best play caller in the league. That doesn't mean he's bad. That just doesn't mean he's not the best. Should have won by another touchdown or at least another 4 with that missed extra point. Yeah, I know. The Discord is very much worth the ad. Is very worthy the ad. Yes. Can anyone drop the Discord link in here? Make sure everyone joins if you haven't already, and if you want to, it's $0.00. It's free. It's just a nonstop. Pretty much, it's a majority Rams channel, Rams chat 24/7. Should have been 34-14. Yeah, definitely wouldn't have minded that. Should have won. Okay, saw that. Yeah, it absolutely proves the red zone yet again. Our interception was in shotgun again. Our 4th and 2, we didn't go for it. Gay botched 2 kickoff out of bounds. Seattle started the drive at the 40-yard line. Yeah, that's another thing. The defense, that's something that would help in the EPA. I think it's, what the hell is it called? DVOA, that's it. DVOA will show what the Rams defense looks like because DVOA takes into account where the Rams defense starts on the field. So those 2 kicks that put the Seattle Seahawks at the 40 in DVOA, it will credit the Rams defense for starting the field position at the 40. So it's not as painful as, say, if they started at the 2 and gave up a touchdown, that looks bad. But if they start at the 40 and give up a touchdown, it's not as bad, if that makes sense. 23-10 in the second half. Yeah, actually, that's exactly what it was. Not bad. Why run on 3rd and 15? God knows why. The Rams could have dropped 40 on the Seahawks, I agree. Is McVay willing to give up play calling? That I don't know. I don't have any inside knowledge on that. Stretch Holmes, thank you for the super chat. Appreciate you. Shocked the Rams didn't make a play for Jalen Smith or Stephon Gilmore. I see them making a big trade for a defensive player. Thoughts? The thing is, I think the Rams, it's going to depend. If Darius Williams is out for a significant amount of time, there's a chance that this team goes out and is like, you know what, we need to go out and get somebody because David Long is not ready for this moment. Neither is Robert Rochelle, the rookie. So there's a chance that they could go out and try and test the waters. But I do think that the majority of those players that would have made sense, personally, I don't think Jalen Smith made any sense based on the linebackers that they have and how well they've been playing, although they weren't the best today. But I don't think they were horrible. With the corners, though, Stephon Gilmore's already in Carolina, and so is CJ Henderson. Those are the 2 options, in my opinion. Plus, you had the injuries, early on in the season, like a guy like Marcus Peters. So, the Ravens are another team where maybe they might have traded one of their guys, but they won't do that now because Marcus Peters is out. So it'll be interesting. I don't really know who you could look at, to be honest with you. I'll have to go into that. Maybe I'll do a video on it. But it's all dependent on Darius Williams. If he hits the IR, though, then yeah, I'd be looking at, potentially making a trade. I mean, this is a Super Bowl team. You don't want to lose the Super Bowl because Darius Williams isn't playing, So, I mean, that's a significant loss if he's hurt. Rams have done 9 shotgun formations in the last 2 games in the red zone, resulting in 2 drop passes, 1 missed throw, and an interception. Damn, that's good to know. Nice pull there, Rob R. Let's see. If he received the opening kickoff, it seems to rattle the coach. I think gay kicks were weird off night. Not worried. Yeah, I agree. Just an off night. I don't even want to talk about it. It's going to piss me off again. I assume that's when I was talking about the punt, which was ridiculous. Yo, let me hop on the show, Jake. I'm not really taking any guests at the moment, but if you want to join the show, we're doing a round table for my members. It's $9.99 a month, not $99, but $9.99, and that's what I've been doing. The Darksaber came on. Ram Fan Ashton. We'll be doing that at some point with all of my platinum members. So if you're interested, I've been asking for Coach McVay to stop play calling, and you and I have been in the same boat there. Ref should be fine for that double punt mess. Totally agree. Number 44, thumbs up. Yes. What the hell was that call? No idea. The penalty on the double punt should have stood. Jameer Jones stepping up on special teams. My MVP for the Rams was Jamal Adams. Love that. That's funny. Not mention he was over the line of scrimmage. Yup, he definitely was. Here comes all the excuses from analysts saying that we won because Russ got hurt. That's true. I say Woods on offense, Lewis on defense. Oh, Lewis was great. I'm sorry. I have not mentioned him enough. Terrell Lewis was great in this game. Definitely deserves a lot of credit. Really big bounce back from last week. His whole body was over the line of scrimmage. Let's see here. A whole team of refs don't know the rules. Yeah, I know. Pretty embarrassing, if you ask me. They should be embarrassed. Yeah, they should. They should put the Wolf or Perkins in when Stafford couldn't hit a side of a barn. You can't just bench your quarterback like that, though. That's the thing. And what happens if Wolford or Perkins, by the way, Perkins was inactive, so it wouldn't have been Perkins, but what happens if Wolford goes off and he doesn't miss, and then all of a sudden, you have fans now that are, clamoring to start Wolford over Stafford. It's horrible. You don't want to do that. So yeah, that's what I will say in that regard. They would have made sure it was right if it was Dallas or Kansas City. I'm not going to say you're wrong there. The AD roughing was because his form kind of touching his helmet, sort of. Yeah, it was bad. Troy Aikman said it on national television, the Emperor has no clothes. This isn't the same defense as last year. There's no way anybody drives 85 yards against the Rams defense last year. Well, here's the thing that I'll say about that, Renee, because I understand what you're saying, but keep this in mind, that against the Rams during this time, week 4, week 5 area, yeah, there is, because they did. See, the Rams defense last year against the Bills was horrible. Okay, the Rams had to come back from 25 down. Let's not forget that. So it's not unheard of for the Rams defense to play this bad. It's just narratives. You don't want to fall for it because it's just these narratives. I'm not knocking Troy Aikman. I actually think they do a good job on the broadcast. I know a lot of people don't like them. I think they do fine. Joe Buck sometimes he'll show side that he doesn't like the Rams because St. Louis thing, whatever. But I'm just going to say it over and over again. This defense is not that bad. And furthermore, last year's defense wasn't that good at this point. So keep that in mind, is that they're not as bad as you think. I'm just telling you. I'm telling you, it's really starting to look like a narrative is being shoved in the faces of people that this defense is not the same as last year. It's easy. It's the low-hanging fruit. But when you really look at it, the defense last year took a little bit to get going too. And then if the argument is, well, they already have the scheme put in. They already have the system designed. Great. Well, they also have to figure out how to replace John Johnson, Troy Hill, Michael Brockers. I mean, it's not as simple as an overnight, success. It's just not. So that's the thing, is that this defense is going to take time. It took time last year. And when it finally clicks, it could be pretty good. I think, honestly, I don't think the bend don't break is going to be a significant thing moving forward. I don't think that's something they'll stick to the whole way. And even if it is, they're only giving up 17, fine by me. So, And again, I'm not worried about the yards. But I do want to see something. So I'm going to pull this up. I'm just curious at this point. Very curious at this point. Let's see where the Rams were last year. Because, normally when a take is made, I like to look it up. I like to challenge the narrative. If the narrative's legit, fine. I'll hop off. I'll bugger off, whatever. Fine, your narrative's right. I'm wrong. Cool. But I want to know first. I'm not going to listen to somebody saying, well, the Rams defense sucks. Okay, why? Explain. And it's way worse than Staley's. I'm going to at least look into it. So this is what we're going to do right now. I'm going to look into this, and we're going to go through it. And so, we're going to go through the Rams to start the first 5 games of last season, and we're going to see the defenses between each other, and that's what we're going to do. So, just right off the bat here, Rams defense through the first 5 games. So, okay, they gave up 17 to the Dallas. Rams defense gave up 14 to the Bears. They gave up 19 to the Eagles. Rams defense gave up 17 to the Colts. They gave up 32 to the Bills. The Rams defense this year gave up 24 to the Bucks. The Rams defense week 4 gave up 9 to the Giants. Rams defense this year gave up 37 to the Cardinals. Rams defense this year gives up 17. Last year they give up 10. So you're kind of seeing a little bit here. It's not the same, but what you notice here is that they start off the same kind of similar way, right? Right off the bat, first 2 games, they're holding them under 20. And then they both have that game where, they allow 35. I said 32, I think, initially. 35 for Buffalo. So 35 points scored by the Buffalo offense. The Rams allowed 37 this year for the Cardinals. Like I said, that was literally their Buffalo game. Now, this game, they allow only 17 to Seattle. And then, of course, against Washington, they allowed 10. So that's the thing. And at this point, guess what they were last year? 4-1. So I don't think it's that crazy, to think that this defense is going to get better. I really don't. That's really where I'm at right now. And I'm not going to do it right now on screen. I'm not going to do this math or anything. But if, I'll get it together and I'll tweet about it because I was keeping track of the Rams defense through 3 weeks. So I'll add on to this and I'll tweet it out, and you guys will be able to, the difference between this year and last year's defense through 3 weeks. Through 5 weeks. I'll tweet that out when it's done, probably after this show. But yeah, it's hard to get off this show, guys. First off, love talking to you guys. Secondly, love talking Rams football. Third, I love football in general. Fourth, I like talking. 5, I like being on camera. And 6, I have over 200 people in here. How do I just hang up on them? I can't. It's not even 1 a.m. on the East Coast. We're good. We're rolling. Darksaver, right back at you. Really appreciate you, dropping another super chat. Yo, Jake, I don't know if you answered one question I said earlier, but how do you think some of our rookies played in this game? I was impressed. Okay, so he didn't play very well, so to speak, but I thought Robert Rochelle being in there, not looking like the game was too big for him, was a step in the right direction. Ben Skoranek was great on the hands team, or the punt coverage team, going down there and downing the awesome Johnny Hecker punt. Those are really the rookies that stood out for me. Everyone else is kind of meh. Either they didn't play or they didn't make an impact. I'm not going to give Tutu Atwell the nod. I think he missed a wide open crease to go maybe for 6 on the first kick. So, second kick. Sorry, first kick he fumbled. He fell down and fumbled the ball, but that's neither here nor there. All right. Jake, I'm glad last week you mentioned this bend don't break D. Is that going to work in the playoffs? I'm nervous about that, bro. It will. Because the bend don't break, it requires you to play in your zone. I don't know if they'll play bend don't break the whole year either, but if they do, the bend don't break requires you to be in your zone. It requires everyone to finish their assignment and be on target. They have to be clean, and that's the thing. If you have any sort of oh well, I wasn't in my right zone or something like that, your offense can exploit you in that way, and you can give up the big play. And the whole point of the bend don't break is to not allow the big play. Settle for field goals, hold teams. And that's the thing. And so, they're going to get better. They're going to get more disciplined over time. Not really too worried about that. So that's what I'll say about the bend don't break. I'm so amped to hug you at MetLife, Jake. Me too, Jobo. Can't wait to meet you. Guys, if you want to meet me at MetLife, I don't know what jersey I'll be wearing. I'll let you guys know. That'll be easy for me to, you'll be able to pick me out. But yeah, I'm excited for it. Next Sunday, MetLife Stadium, Rams Giants. Last time I went to the Rams Giants game, the Rams won 51-17. Yeah, I won't forget that. That was amazing. Funny enough, you know who suited up in that game? Geno Smith. You know who fans were constantly rooting for? There was a chant at one point for Sam Darnold because I saw a Sam Darnold Giants jersey. Everyone wanted a tank for Sam Darnold at the time. It's so funny to me. It really is. It's just really funny. That whole situation, especially the 3rd and 33. I don't think anyone's forgotten about that. Robert Woods, 3rd and 33, takes the bubble screen all the way to the house. So impressive. I could still tell you the guy that one of the guys that caught a touchdown for the Giants, Tavares King, was one of them. Crazy. It's funny how we just know bits and pieces like that. I remember the year before the Rams played the Jets in the ugliest game I've ever watched, 9-3, only because of how bad both offenses were. The defenses didn't really have to do anything, but Al Coultree picked off Bryce Petty on the final drive of the game to seal the win. Johnny Hekker, Jalen Marshall was the return man, and Johnny Hekker punted it like 30 yards over his head. It was there was some fun stuff that game for sure. Okay, so that was Case Keenum versus Bryce Petty, by the way. They did not play Jared Goff. Jared Goff had his debut against the Dolphins the next week, so. All right. Wait, is there somebody complaining and saying that the Seahawks the Rams didn't win the game legitly, which I don't know if that's actually a word. I don't understand what's happening. Also, if you enjoy this, please get the likes up for me. Please thumbs that up. We're at over 150. Really do appreciate you. I'm not either, Henry. I'm not understanding his play calling either. I don't think you're wrong, Nugget. I mean, that might be getting to him. I don't know. It's a lot of responsibility to do all the calls in the defense. So there's a chance, yeah. Oh, okay. I wasn't sure. Gotcha. I need to change where that alert box is. Maybe put it up here. I don't know. No, we'll put it down here. If possible. Yeah, because it gets like right in my face and I'm like, what the hell? All right. Let's see if that works. Maybe that's better. Okay. Let's see. Stafford has choked early in the last 2 games. Yeah, I'm not worried. They're 4-1. I might go to the Ravens game, Dark Saber. You'll have to let me know if you end up going. That's what I'm saying, Ryan. Just wait until, the timing is really down between our wideouts and Staffy. Totally agree. It's going to get better. I mean, that's really what it is. Thank you, Sean West. I'm trying. We're trying to grow. We're trying. Slowly but surely. Subscribing helps. Donations help. We're already at $76 in chat revenue, so really do appreciate you guys for that. Like I said, this is pretty much my full-time job at the moment. So, let's see. Nolan, I'm going to pin your tweet. If anyone wants to join the Discord, the tweet is pinned. Just click that link. It's free. You can join. I don't know how it shows up on your screen, but it shows up as a blue bar, transparent blue bar above. Man. Henry, hey Jake, I don't know, man. This is not a Super Bowl caliber team. I mean, it is, but the players are letting the scheme down, or the scheme is letting the players down. I disagree because it's just too early, you know? It's too early. You know, through 5 games, they're 4-1. I mean, I don't think they're that much different than last year's defense through 5 games, you know? So, I mean, that's what I'll say. And keep in mind, Washington, they held Washington at 10 points. Washington was dog water last year, you know, at the beginning of the season. I mean, Alex Smith played in that game. It was really cool to see Alex Smith out there and playing everything that he went through with that leg, but he was not in NFL shape. I mean, he was not, and what I mean by that is he wasn't somebody that could come in and actually win that game. He was entirely a placeholder, and the Rams ate him alive. Let's see. Yeah, Goff is going to have a rough time in Detroit. The offensive line has some really good players on paper, but, they've had a hard time, and Ragnow, I think, is going to be hurt, for the next however many weeks. I don't think he's going to play, so that's going to be huge. Ragnow's one of the best centers in the league, so that's a huge loss. Oh, crap. Now I don't even see the box. I'll have to wait until someone drops a super chat or something again, and I'll move it up. What was that? I just saw one. Any recommendations for seats at the Ravens game? Oh, I have no idea. I've never been to Baltimore before as far as like for a game. My cousin always goes to like Yankees, Orioles, but I've actually really never been to Baltimore for games. I've driven through there. I haven't really stayed there. So, I don't know much about it, but I definitely want to go if I can. I mean, I want the Rams to win, but obviously like, I think it'd be cool to see a game where the Rams win. I love the Rams. I get to watch the Rams, and I get to watch Lamar Jackson, who's one of my favorite non-Ram players. So, I think that'd be cool. Henry, I disagree. I don't think the Chargers look necessarily better. They both have 3. Well, now the Rams have 4 wins and a loss, and Chargers have 3 wins and a loss. The Chargers are not they look like one of the best teams in the league, but I don't think they look better than the Rams. I don't think their offense is as dominant as the Rams has looked at their high. Like the Rams highs, the Chargers highs are just not on that level, in my opinion. I mean, like let's look through it real quick. I don't want to get too much into it, because I mean I really do like the Chargers. Like I hope they do well. I don't look at them as a rival, and I'm rooting for Brandon Staley, and I really like Justin Herbert and Keenan Allen and Austin Eckler and a ton of guys on the defense. I mean, I don't know. The Chargers I don't mind the Chargers, right? So, looking at the Chargers though, like let's go back here. The Chargers, I mean, they had a nice 28-point outburst against, the Raiders at home. They dropped 30 on the Chiefs. I don't think the Chiefs are particularly that great on defense. They only scored 17 against the Cowboys and 20 against the Washington football team. If you look at the Rams, 34-27, 34-20, 26. I just think the Rams are a more potent offense, in my opinion. So, I don't know. I like the Chargers. I like their team this year. I do think that they are going to be in the Super Bowl against the Rams, but I don't think they're better than the Rams, if that makes sense. And point differential, they weren't better coming into the game anyway. So, let's see. We're over 2,000 views. Appreciate you guys. What else you guys want to talk about? I agree with that. Alt lag. Definitely agree with that. Mallet finger? I've never even heard of that. 6 to 8 weeks, they are done if that's the case. That's not good. That's really not good. I mean, Xavier, well, wow, hey, that's an interesting proposition. Now, Xavier Howard, I don't know how you fit him in the cap, but I'll say this. The Dolphins become very interesting. If they don't win this week with Tua, I mean, are they the worst team in football? Potentially. It doesn't matter how good their defense continues to play or tries to play. Their offense can't move the football. You know? If that's the case, then, you know, if that's the case, then I'll say this. I think if the Dolphins are out of it, then I think there's a chance they would trade Xavier Howard. And if Darius Williams is actually hurt significantly, I think the Rams would potentially go out and do that. Hilltop, that Venom movie was fantastic. I loved it. I'm glad you enjoyed it, Mr. American Barricade. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a good day at work tomorrow. AJ Boye, that'd be interesting. I don't know if they'll do that, though, but Rapp and Williams for Howard? No way. You would trade picks. You wouldn't trade Williams. See, here's the problem, though. You trade Rapp and Williams, and now, you know, that's too much. You don't want to give up guys. Here's the thing. You're adding a guy to your roster. You're adding a guy as a piece. He's supposed to be an addition. You don't want to subtract anybody. You're saying you need another guy. You're not saying, hey, I'll trade you this guy for this guy. No. You want to get another guy. I've been considering that. It's such a pain doing the call-ins because remember when I got everything working? I use a different computer now. So for whatever reason, I need to use a different software, and the software always mutes my mic. Remember when my mic just used to be randomly muted? It used to just cut out? That was because of that software. So it sucks. It's like I'll try and get it going at some point and probably bring it back, but I just got so tired of, hey, I'm talking and I talk for 15 minutes, I'm not paying attention, and oh, the software went out and now my mic is, muted. I'm not saying we can get Howard, by the way. Darius Slay's a very interesting proposition there, Rusty. That's a good name there. Especially because I don't think the Eagles look particularly bad or good. I just think they're kind of just there. And Darius Slay is, he's a starter, but I'm sure he wants to win a Super Bowl. He's played with Stafford before. I don't know. I mean, what is it? Right now the Eagles are what? Eagles are 1-3 on a 3-game losing streak, and they've only beaten the Falcons. I'm just telling you, I don't think that they'll make this trade unless Darius Williams is significantly injured. So what I will say is that I hope he's not significantly injured. I hope Darius Williams will be back to play against the Giants next week in New York or New Jersey. God, why do they have to be in New Jersey? Be called the New York Giants. It's so frustrating. But if he's not healthy and they put him on the IR and he potentially misses a bunch of games, then you could be looking at a trade, and I think a guy like Slay would make sense. You know, there are guys that are around the league that are really talented that are on rosters right now that aren't winning. I mean, you could go through right now. The Detroit Lions are 0-4. There's, a trade could be made with them. I mean, they have some injuries there in the back end, their secondary, but they're also a team I don't think that wants to throw in the towel, though. But they did just place Ragnow on IR. That's not good. Yeah, so, I mean, I don't know. Like, looking at their depth chart, let's see. Lions, Oruwariye, and Bobby Price are their starters. So, okay, maybe not. They're dealing with a lot of injuries. So, Fadu Melifanu and Jeff Okuda are on the IR. Okay, no to the Lions. Next team, the Falcons, 1-3. Let's see what they got here for the depth chart. Do the Falcons have anybody? Obviously, they're not going to trade AJ Terrell. Fabian Moreau, probably not. Sheffield, Isaiah Oliver on IR. My God, they are depleted. No, they're probably not trading anybody. Okay, so we move on. What's another team? Who's struggling? Let's see. I mean, the Eagles, like we already mentioned. Anybody else? Jacksonville again? I mean, who else does Jacksonville have? And Jacksonville already traded CJ Henderson. I was all over CJ Henderson, by the way. Would have loved him. Was cornerback 1 in that draft for me. CJ Henderson, okay. So they have Tyson Campbell, draft pick. Shaquille Griffin, signing long-term. Nevin Lawson, nope. Trey Herndon, nope. Chris Claybrooks, nope. Okay, so they don't really have anybody. The Steelers aren't tanking. I think they're still trying to compete in that division, even though everyone's 3-1 except for them. The Jets, I think, they're not tanking. They're trying to compete. Patriots gave up Stephon Gilmore because they like where they're at with their team. That's the issue you're going to run into. I don't think the Jets are going to trade anybody. That's the problem. But you look at the Patriots, I mean, the reason they gave up Stephon Gilmore is because Jalen Mills is playing good football and they like him. They like J.C. Jackson, who's great. They got Joejuan Williams. Keep in mind, they spent a high pick on him. They have Jonathan Jones. Keep in mind, remember when they got Sean Wade? Rams should have gotten Sean Wade. That's what the Rams should have done. Remember Sean Wade? He got drafted by the Ravens and they traded him for like a late pick. That is who the Rams should have gotten. And I said that when he was traded. I was like, oh, I didn't even know Sean Wade was available. I would have absolutely made that trade. Yeah, it would be great to have Sean Wade right now. Yeah, so, I mean, I don't know. I mean, there's some free agents, too, out there. Let me look that up, because I know there's free agent corners right now, in the league, as far as that goes. I'm going to look on Spotrac. I think, what's his face? Dunbar. Quentin Dunbar's a free agent. Let's see here. Well, this might actually be useful too. It's the 2022 free agency class, but it's guys that are going to be free agents. So potential trade candidates. I know I would not want Patrick Peterson, but he is a candidate there. A lot of these guys I don't think are options. Xavier Rhodes, if the Colts want to give up on him. Jimmy Smith in Baltimore. I don't love it, but the way... Yeah, no to Peterson. Absolutely not. He's overrated, and he's over the hill now, and I wouldn't touch him with a 10-foot pole. But the Ravens are interesting because while they have the talent and everything, Jimmy Smith I don't think is playing a ton. I could be wrong, but I don't think he's playing a ton. I think it's really been Anthony Averett and Marlon Humphrey with Tavon Young as the nickel. Peters is out, Amon Marshall's out, Chris Westry's out, and Khalil Dorsey's out. So there is there's a lot of guys that are out here. I don't know if they would trade Jimmy Smith, but that would be, maybe you reach out and see if they want a late round pick for a guy that's on a 1-year deal, expiring contract. My Spotrac just totally went down. Awesome. Yeah, I don't know, guys. The Dolphins right now, where are they sitting at 1-3? Yeah, Dolphins are at 1-3 right now. I think they may have gotten that shored up at the moment, but they keep losing games. And oh, by the way, Dolphins, here's who they're going up against: the Buccaneers in Tampa. I don't like them in that game. Jacksonville, I mean, it's whatever you want to call it. It's 9:30 a.m., so it's going to be in London. That game could be anywhere. The Falcons, easier, okay, but I could still see the Falcons winning that. Then you're in Buffalo, Houston, Ravens, at Jets, Panthers, Giants, Jets. And then you have, let's see here, at Saints, at Titans, and Patriots to end the season. That is a brutal 3-game stretch to end the season. Yeah, I'll be real with you guys. I don't know if the Dolphins are gonna even come close to making the playoffs. They're in hot water right now. They're 0-2 at home. They've won a road game. They have 62 points on the year generated. They've given up 109. I don't know. Probably not looking very good. But yeah, I mean, we'll see. Maybe he goes there. I don't know. No, I don't think Jackrabbit, because I think the Saints feel pretty good about where they're at right now at 2-2. They don't. Obviously, they could feel better at 3-1, but they have an overtime loss. They're overtime win away from being 3-1. So Oh man. The trade deadline is around like week 8, I want to say. Yeah, it's around week 8. All right, guys. I hate to leave when I have all these people in here, all of you guys in here, but I am getting tired. I want to make sure I'm on my A game, when I'm doing this. And if I start to falter, I'm not going to stay on live just to stay on live, right? So really appreciate you guys so much. It's been a lot of fun. I'm really enjoying doing these. I'm going to continue doing these. We're going to continue having the previews. Maybe I'll be able to even do a film breakdown if all 22 cooperates with me this week. But yeah, I'll see you guys probably, I don't know, we might do a live over the weekend, get some content out. We're going to have videos, obviously. Probably some news coming down the pipeline with Darius Williams. And my birthday is Monday, so maybe I do a birthday stream. I don't know. We'll figure it out, but appreciate you guys so much as always. You guys take care, and I'll see you guys soon. Later.